We're joined by co-organizer Stephan Caron. Thank you so much for speaking to us, and I'm so sorry to hear about that cancellation.
Yes, no, absolutely. It's the unfortunate outcome, I would say, of the weather conditions today. Obviously, we don't want to take any risk on the security of the swimmers. We did some the city town hall does some real-time tests on the quality of the water. The quality was fine at 6:30 a.m. But because of the rainfall, it's at 7:15. They deemed that it was in the red zone, so we took the measure to cancel the event. Right, obviously security comes first, and we'll be back next year.
And can you explain a little bit about kind of how the weather impacts the water quality in the Seine?
Yeah, so unfortunately, you have, when there's a big downpour of water, it obviously flows into the River Seine directly, right? You have, certain areas where the water can go directly into a treatment center, right? There's certain areas of Paris where it flows directly into the river. And unfortunately, it basically carries a lot of the dirt from the streets, right? So, it's really unfortunate because it doesn't last very, very long, right? Effectively, the water gets treated eventually, but when there's a sudden downpour like that, you have to cancel, right? There really is no other way around it.
And it sounds like you're going to be unable to reschedule the events for later on this summer.
Yeah, it's unlikely, right? I mean, we obviously a lot of preparation work in advance to this type of event, and we have a number of other events organized throughout France. So we will be back next year for sure, but no, for this year we have to unfortunately cancel and wait another year.
Well, we did get to see some people swimming in the Seine at least yesterday before it rained. Have you had a chance to dive in yet yourself? And what have your feelings been just as you've watched people get to dive in?
Yeah, look, there was a lot of excitement. Obviously, the people who could swim yesterday, right? Yesterday wasn't an official swimming event, right? It was the baignade in the Seine, as I call it, right, where people are, just swimming casually, I would say. There was a lot of excitement, right? This is the first time in many, many years that people can actually swim in the Seine. It was a pledge from the the mayor at the time, Jacques Chirac, and then obviously the current mayor as well, to reopen the Seine to the Paris population. So it's a big commitment. There's been a massive investment, obviously, to make that happen on the back of the Paris Olympics. And the Parisians can now take advantage and enjoy the Seine when the weather and the quality of the water permits it.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your event, Open Swim, and kind of the purpose behind it?
Yeah, so we've been organizing open water events across France and in Singapore as well for the past decade now. And there's really two purposes. I would say the first one is obviously encourage people to stay healthy. There's no better sport than swimming to stay healthy, right? It's injury-free. It's really, you can practice it at any age, really. So that's the first objective. The second one is to really demonstrate the importance of, water quality, preserving the environment, and basically making these events and venues effectively accessible to all, right? And we've seen the significant investment that Paris has made to reopen the Seine, and that's really what we're trying to encourage throughout France. We do events in places like Lyon and La Baule and many other big cities, and it's great to see that now we can extend those events to Paris as well.
Do you think that we're currently seeing sort of a growing push across Europe to open up urban rivers to swimming?
Absolutely. Look, there are a number of cities already where those swimming events are occurring, right? Switzerland obviously has a very, very high standard around the quality of the water, and there are a number of events throughout the country in different rivers, throughout the year. But we also see events in Amsterdam and the Nordic countries as well. There is an event in the Thames as well, although I must say that the quality of the Thames, can be on and off, right? And so I think it just encourages the public authorities to make these investments, to make these, venues safer for people to be able to swim in them.
And do the cleanups benefit marine life in these rivers as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. You can imagine that when the water quality is at a high enough standard, obviously marine life can thrive.
And as you mentioned, this was a huge cleanup operation. It cost 1.4 billion euros, and it also requires ongoing maintenance to keep the water clean. is it worth it? I mean, some naysayers might say, hey, that's a lot of money. Perhaps it could be better spent elsewhere.
That's not for me really to get into that type of debate. I think, environmental standards are really, really important, right? And so, it's always a balancing act, right? So I will let politicians have that debate. I do think that, environmental standards are super, super important. And, we see the benefit when they make these investments for everyone.
And just finally, many Parisians I know, continue to say they have no desire to swim in the Seine. Do you think that you're going to succeed in changing the river's image?
I think it will take some time, right? I totally understand that some people are afraid, they still have concerns over the quality of the water. But I think what we've done today demonstrates that we have really, really high standards, right? Whenever there is a concern around the quality of the water, the event does not happen, right? It gets cancelled, including at the last minute. So I think they can take comfort, but it will take time, right, to change those mentalities. And I think it's only through, many years of practicing and, organizing these events that over time we'll be able to effectively raise the level of comfort for those that are a little bit nervous or concerned.
There were definitely scenes of joy yesterday that I think are starting to help change people's ideas. Stephan Caron, thank you again so much for taking the time to speak with us. Sorry again about your event having to be canceled due to the weather. That's Stephan Caron, the co-organizer of this year's Open Swim Paris. It was going to be taking place this Sunday in the Seine. Keep an eye out for it elsewhere around France, as well as next year here in Paris.